Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of ZGN Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can grow social media presence, and not in 2019, not in 2018, but in 2020.
So, as you mentioned in the intro, in 2018 and 2019, social media was way different than how it is now, especially when it comes to advertising. Tactics change every single year because it's an ever-changing market. Now, I'd like to start off with the first way to grow your social media presence, and this is specifically from the point of you as a personal brand, not the company you run, but for example, me, Mitchell, you, Emiliano, just our personal brand, personal lives, personal profiles on Instagram. And I'd say the first thing is quote unquote flashiness, being able to catch people's attention with your account.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people aren't like this naturally, like I'm not particularly flashy, but as you'll be on social media a while, you're going to have to start to understand you need to be a little bit flashy to really grow some traction, or at least to grow faster than you otherwise would have. And I think we've seen this too. Like we've had cases where we've just posted regular stuff, regular content that's working. And quite frankly, we grow a lot faster when we post flashy stuff like us traveling, like us going to Vegas, us going to Europe, like all that stuff actually propelled our growth a lot more. We've seen it in our personal internal numbers.
Agreed. And it also depends a bit around which field you're in now. Say, for example, you're a business owner trying to offer value. Certain people will be bored listening to the value you have to provide. Now, I know there are a lot of people recently. There has been a huge trend in a bunch of this credit knowledge, people selling credit courses, guys, not buy it. You could go online, go on YouTube, find all that information, take the time. Unless you're lazy and you'd rather just pay to have everything together, that's different.
Yeah, let me plug some good channels. Watch Credit Shifu and Ask Sebi, great channels. And Brian Jung's actually pretty good too. So watch those three channels. They're very
super
great.
Solid. We actually got a lot of value from those channels that we didn't have before. And these guys never try to sell you on anything, just give you pure value, full authenticity, so that's great. But there are a lot of channels, for example, or people offering credit, and for example, not everyone wants to sit around and learn about credit. But what these guys will do is they will portray a really attractive, say, lifestyle that will kind of bring people in listening about credit and what they have to offer.
Yeah, and there's a reason we've seen a huge surge of this. There's just a couple profiles. Obviously, don't want to list anyone by name, but I think there's been about 3 to 4 different big figures that have really blown up recently because they've been flashy about credit. And like we were talking about, there's a lot of people in here, like those 3 guys we talked about, like Ask Sebi, Credit Shifu, Brian Jung. They've been doing this for a long time, but the fact of the matter is they're not flashy, and while they do give great value, because they're not flashy, they don't get as many people through the door. And this, I think, like, obviously I'm assuming that's not who they naturally are, but if they were to do that, I think they would blow up as well. But they're more authentic guys, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And for example, with us, say certain conversations we had that people wouldn't be interested in listening to them, but because, say, for example, they go on our Instagram, they see what we do on our free time, certain travel experience, sense they're like, oh, okay, cool, how are these guys able to travel like that? I'd like to enjoy hearing what they do. Similar with me, say, for example, one day I want to own a Lamborghini, for example, and I see someone driving a Lamborghini. I'm gonna want to know what he's doing. I like to have a conversation with him. What kind of path did he go by? And not just for the sole purpose of the car that he has, but quite simply, you see if someone has a car like that, they probably have certain luxuries, such as the freedom to travel. It's just something you assume, and you don't even need to be into cars. Say, for example, I really like traveling, but I see someone with a nice house, nice car. I'll probably assume they're able to travel, so I'm much more likely to listen to the knowledge they have to offer because I know it'll be value to me, and it's something that I could apply in my life to then be able to go ahead and travel.
Yep, so I think that's pretty much rule one is you want to be flashy, kind of bring people into the door to introduce them to your brand. I think the second step is really providing them value. Exactly. I mean, that's one reason why we mainly do this YouTube channel is, for instance, our Instagram is super flashy. We tell people, hey, check out our YouTube videos, link in my bio, and they go here and they see a completely different side of us to where we're not flashy, we're calm, we're just pretty chill. It's just us talking in the studio.
Yeah, a way that I like to put it is attract them with the flashiness, but have them stay for the value. And without value, no one's going to listen to you, because whether you're trying to sell something or just expand your network, what I've learned in today's world is no one cares about you. The only thing people care about you is what you have to offer to them.
Yeah, I agree. We've had this conversation before, and I think 2 or 3 videos ago, where you just turn to a world that's completely consumer focused, and not just talking about business, but this is just exclusively we're talking about personal brands. you need to be a certain degree flash to bring people in, but value doesn't have to mean business value. It can mean really anything you have to offer. For instance, you're a social media influencer. You like talking about mental health. Talk about mental health. That's value. But be a little bit flashy. Reel people in, and then talk about your mental health and how you're battling that.
Yeah, and I'm sure some people have heard of Gary Vee or maybe haven't, but I'd just like to bring in
authenticity
as an example. This dude does a great job.
Does do a great job
giving value. He doesn't talk about anything he does in the back end. He just tells people what they're supposed to be doing, and a lot of the stuff in his videos are super similar. But I know for a fact that he has a really big following of people that really listen to him, and a lot of them, claim that what he says has changed their life. And because of the value that he offers and because of the audience that he has in the back end, he's really able to monetize that, especially with the big companies he works for example, Super Bowl, that Baby Peanut commercial. There were a few others. I forget what it was. But this guy works with huge Chase being another company that he works with. That
Kevin Hart commercial.
And no one really knows who he actually works with, but they just listen to him because of the value he has to provide.
Yeah, and I would have to say there's a different variety of people in each sector. Some people obviously heavily weight towards more value or heavily weight towards more flashiness. I have to say Gary Vee definitely is very, very, very heavy on the value and not as much flashiness. It really depends on who you are, but to some degree you have to be a little bit flashy. In his little intro we got private jet, got to flex on them.
Exactly.
But to some value works really, really well as people too. If all you have is flashiness, you're gonna have like Mitch was saying, you're gonna have a lot of people come in the door, but you're not gonna have a lot of people staying.
Something I actually want to ask you. I was just thinking about this. So with value, the more value you give, the better. There's really no limit. Just give it all away for free. When it comes to flashiness, there might be a certain line at some point that you shouldn't be passing.
I agree with that.
Where would you think that line is?
I mean, it really depends on what you're doing, why you want to grow your brand. Like if you own a gentleman's club, you can be really flashy, be really provocative. But if you're doing something like if you're like a copyright lawyer, you don't want to be posting stuff like that. So it really depends on the individual case.
Say you're offering a finance.
You don't want to be posting
on Instagram at the club every single day.
You don't want to be posting that.
Exactly.
You have to don't just be like flash. Like don't just buy all designer. Like obviously don't do that if you don't have the funds too. But it really depends on what you're doing. Like don't be a lawyer that's super flashy wearing designer. Be like a lawyer that posts travel stuff, for instance.
Sure.
Like we know. I think I saw this recently. I forget who it is, but I saw this recent article and this recent YouTube story on this I think it wasn't Reddit, but she was this she's a lawyer, she's a copyright lawyer, and the way she brings a lot of clients is she actually takes a lot of nice travel pictures.
Okay.
So that's one way that that's how I'm relating it to some cases I've seen. So I probably might reach out to her and ask a couple more questions, like how it works for her. But you see, you need to have a little bit, you need to have flashiness and value. If you have only flashiness, you're getting a lot of people in the door. Not a lot of people are going to stay. If you only have value, not a lot of people are going to come through the door, but those people are going to stay a long time. So you really have to use the best of both worlds.
Sure. And something that I wanted to bring up is it's much easier to offer value than say the whole flashiness side of your life. So to offer value, all you need is an iPhone camera and you actually talking to the camera and just telling people what you know. And you could be good at anything. Say you love sports and you love playing basketball. There are a lot of people that enjoy playing basketball, and there may be certain tips that you're able to give in the basketball niche that people will benefit off of. And if you don't start thinking flashiness first, I'd say think value first, because once you're giving enough value, people start returning the favor to you, and that allows you to then reinvest into, for example, creating a more creative type of scene, not only for your life. Say, for example, you want to travel. You traveling will allow more people to listen to your content. For example, with us, because of this, we've been able to create the studio right here.
Yep.
And it's just much more better to the eye than, say, us just standing in front of a whiteboard writing, because we've been able to invest into these walls, the sign.
And we've personally split test a channel just like that, actually. Most people, we split that a couple months ago, just us writing. And we figured, it's like, it did decent, but we really stepped up our flashiness and social media a little bit to kind of get people to stay for this.
Exactly. And I'd also have to agree that having a set like this with actual quality, equipment, mics, all this gives us much more confidence when it comes to actually presenting, and just makes the whole process enjoyable. Like we didn't hire anyone to build this. You ran the measurements. You were literally at Home Depot. Your phone died.
Also, got to give props to our friends at Keem and Ben. Thank you so much, guys.
That's true.
Thank you so much, guys.
But you were at Home Depot literally drawing everything out. And through all of our previous ventures cash flows, we've been able to reinvest part of it into this, because these ventures provided value to others. Even as little as, for example, us selling on eBay and Amazon, we're getting products into other people's hands for a good price.
Yep.
that's offering value to them.
Exactly.
In return, they return the favor to us, and we're able to then increase the quote unquote flashiness, which is say this set right here.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to the same analogy, one last time restating it, think of it as like a doorway in a house. You know, flashiness gets people in the door, value makes people stay. If you don't have a lot of flashes, a lot of people are going to come in, but those people that come in are going to stay. If all you have is flashes, a lot of people are going to walk in and walk right out. And then I think from that, that's more of a personal way to state it. I think we should really go into the, you know, adding the third pillar if you're in business, if you want to take that off.
Yeah. So the third pillar after flashiness and after value is results, proof, and just showing that you're actually legit and back up what you say.
Yep.
And anyone can go online, learn some information, present on it.
Be like, I know everything.
But not everyone could back up that this is actually what they do, the results, you know, certain numbers, because anyone can talk. Anyone could be a good talker, but your track record is what really sets you apart.
Yeah, you know, if you're a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, you want to be a little bit flashy to get clients. For instance, you're a plastic surgeon, you want to be a little bit flashy to get clients. You want to give people value about like how they can be better in their life.
Miami.
Yep, Dr. Miami. Perfect example. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So like, look, if you want to be a little bit flashy, get people in the door, you know, give people value, you know, talk social media, talk about how they can feel better in their life. And then last but not least, show them proof. You know, oh, these are my clients. You know, this is my medical degree, stuff like that. And this can be applied to different business. For instance, people come to us. We have a small consulting service. Don't want to monetize this at all. Don't feel forced to like go check it out or anything like that. But like for instance, we use our Amazon results to A, we prove we know what we're doing, and you know, B, we also post our client results if they're okay with that, because it proves, you know, A, we can take people that are making nothing, you know, make them make a lot of money. And, you know, I think that's the third pillar you need if you're in business and you're using social media to get clients or, you know, just gain awareness.
Yeah. Actually, we really like the whole doctor example. So say, for example, you're a doctor and you have a social media presence. This puts that doctor with the social media presence, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, much more apart than those that don't. Because say today I woke up with the cold, I want to go to the doctor, and I'm like in a new city. I don't know which doctor takes my insurance. I'm gonna just go on Google Maps, search up doctors in the area, right?
Yep.
But I'm sure there are doctors that when you put their names in on Google, they have SEO.
Yep.
They have an Instagram account. They have a YouTube channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, where they're putting out quality videos. And that allows them to be in multiple places at different times, literally around the world or around a certain city, than just that one doctor that has a Google Maps presence.
Yeah, you know, there's not just doctors. Like, I think there's a couple other doctors on YouTube, I think, that do like current takes. And like there was one video I saw on the coronavirus. This guy was a doctor. He's talking about it. That guy's a huge YouTube channel as well. That's the second example I can think of. You know, there's a lot of other examples.
I actually see a lot of chiropractors that record videos literally working on their clients.
Exactly.
And a lot of them have social media presence that pretty much they end up working with celebrities. And you, as a regular consumer, you know, you see these celebrities, you're like, all right, this person's big. He has a lot. He's working with this chiropractor. This guy probably knows what he's doing. And so you're like, okay, that is the doctor I want to go to.
Yeah, you know, your brand lets you charge a premium on stuff because people trust you more, and you know, rightfully so. I mean, the last step is you just need the proof. It's flashiness, value, proof, and that's pretty much all you have. I have another example. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I forgot it while you were talking, so I'm kind of salty.
No, I see a lot of doctors doing well with that, and certain social media people too.
I remember it now.
I see. Go for it.
So yeah, sorry for cutting you off a little bit, but like, there's another example I can think of. Like, there's like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for instance. See what I mean?
I haven't heard of him.
The astrophysicist. I wish you heard. I'm trying to think of a couple other examples, but like people like you know, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and people like, for instance, let's just say, well, I wouldn't say they're flashy, but
what does he do?
Neil deGrasse Tyson, well, he's an astrophysicist, one of the largest ones in the world. Basically, educational, teaches people how astrophysicists work, to get more people in the field, stuff like that. So, you know, explore space. So I wouldn't say he's necessarily flashy, but he gives a lot of value, and you know, he has a lot of proof. He talks like he has a degree, like he knows what he's talking about. And there's a lot of examples of this. Like, you can go on YouTube and you see a lot of professors actually put their work up on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
you see that a lot of the times.
I see that happening.
And the reason they do that is because giving people value, they're proving they're credentialed, and you know, overall you just gain more
students want to go to their class.
Exactly.
It gets filled up.
More people want to go to the school, and the school can charge higher tuition.
Exactly.
So it's like really interesting. It's not just like people that sell on Amazon, people that do e-commerce. It's not just doctors, but you know, you can really apply this in almost any field where you're, you know, selling yourself at the end of the day.
It's pretty funny how a lot of businesses, or whether you're a personal brand, people used to have business cards. These social media platforms are literally becoming the business cards.
That's perfect.
Because most people just either have a website or if you have a physical location, that location on Google Maps, but very rarely do they have an Instagram, you know, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that stuff where they're able to put out different types of content. And you as the user, you want to be able to go, okay, you saw the Instagram, cool. Instagram has short videos, mostly pictures. You want to learn more about me? Cool. Here's my YouTube channel. I post 20 to 30-minute videos where you're actually able to listen to me, trust me more. And that is how businesses or personal brands are able to set themselves apart from others, capture more attention, because YouTube is becoming super crowded. Instagram is becoming super crowded. It's getting super hard to grow organically. And pretty much the best way to set yourself apart is through adding value, having an attractive looking social media, because that just looks aesthetic to the eye and people enjoy it, and having proof that you know what you're talking about, knowing what you're talking about through your past work and other people you've worked with.
Yeah, and I think what you touched on was a beautiful way to put it. Is I think social media is becoming, the new business card. You go on Instagram, you're instantly able to see, oh, this is what this guy does, this is what he's good at. Okay, cool. And that's the same exact thing people used to do with business cards. If you want to get in touch with somebody, you DM them on Instagram. You sometimes people put their emails on there, and that's how business cards used to be. I think it's really, really interesting now. Instead of trading business cards, now people get each other's Instagrams, even in professional settings, or their LinkedIns. So I think it's really interesting to see how it all changes. And lastly, I think we should kind of touch on how you can grow if you're a business or you're a personal brand in the 2020, relating it to our current year, if you want to take that off.
So yeah, pretty much depending, is it regarding to us or
just like advertisement stuff like that, how ad space is changing?
So it's definitely much less on the marketing and much more on the value you're providing, because whenever I'm watching a YouTube video, I get hit with super similar ads like, I did these numbers this past month. I could teach you how to do the same exact thing. And I think first off, a lot of people are doing ads like these. So what's important is to be networking, meeting other people, and doing a lot of cross-pollination with those. And what I mean by that is, say, for example, you just started a YouTube channel in the finance field. Find someone else that is around the same size as you when it comes to channel growth, and make a video with them, because their audience will go ahead and check out your channel, and vice versa, because that's a good way to put it. And what I've learned is it's getting much harder to grow in massive numbers unless you grow viral, but there are a lot of more channels that are, say, 20 to 30 subscribers that are having a really tight-knit following.
Yeah, I think we're kind of seeing, as Gary Vee would take, more quality over quantity in followers. Correct. And more depth rather than width. You're really shifting over to a point where people no longer want to go for a lot of followers, want to go for like more detailed followers that are really, really in love with their content. And relating that to, I have this popular law I like to talk about is is the law of controversiality. Yep. The more controversial you become, the more dedicated your audience becomes, but the less there is. And you have to find that balance between how controversial do you want to be and how many people do you want to still have look at your content. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think a lot of this this growth nowadays, I think organic reach has been going down most platforms, because obviously they're logarithmically, they've been growing, and they're starting their slope's starting to go down a little bit. And I think it's just a lot harder to grow organically nowadays, and that leads a lot of people to running ads, which we do a little bit for Instagram and our YouTube. But I think that's like a new way that people are finding out how to grow, and I think it's really interesting to see how this is going to evolve the space over the next couple of years. Yeah,
I definitely see these companies making it harder, because they know people end up throwing money into advertisements. And in a sense, maybe these companies are thinking survival of the fittest. Like, they might want people on their platforms that are able to give them money, because that gives them incentive for more profit. YouTube, Instagram, all these companies, they're profit focused. And if you're starting off a channel, chances are when you post your first few videos, it's going to be hard for it to be seen by a lot of YouTube people, unless you know others in the space and you're trying to cross-pollinate. But say you don't have a network and it's just you making value-based videos, stay patient, stay consistent, and look into paid advertising, because that is how people all around the world of different niches will be able to see you, and then go ahead and decide for themselves if you're a personality or the content you provide is something that they will want to continuously watch over a long period of time.
Yeah, so I think just to touch on what we've talked about, if you're a personal brand, you need to be flashy and give value. If you're in a business, you need to also have testimonials, and lastly, ads help as well. And I think that's pretty much it. If you want to add anything else,
I say that's about it. So hey guys, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment on the video. Let us know what you thought about it.
If you disagree with us, agree with us, any good stuff.
Literally anything. Give us critical feedback. Dive into our Instagram DMs if you want to debate anything of what we've discussed. We always love doing that.
Go ahead.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and take care.
Adios.